Hot Apostle. Help us build the kingdom. Like, share, and subscribe. So it is the 4th of July, right? And there were 4th of July readings that are optional, and there's just like 20 of them. And I said, let's just keep it simple, and we'll do today's readings. But today's readings, the first reading, if you look carefully at the selection in your missalette or whatever you're looking at, you'll see that it jumps around a lot. It goes from chapter 23 to chapter 24, so it covers 2 full chapters of the book of Genesis, but we only get a few little sprinklings of it. So we don't get to hear about Rebekah, and really Rebekah has proved herself to be a wonderful candidate to be a wife. And she's a little bit contrasted with Isaac, Isaac is not going to be necessarily all that. And Rebekah is when Rebekah met this guy, it's kind of a strange story. He puts his hand under the thigh of Abraham, which was a way of making an oath. Okay, that was like a strange act. It was something you would have to do absolutely deliberately. It's like you were not going to accidentally enter into this oath. So he's making this promise. And then he goes off to find Rebekah, and when he sees Rebekah basically comes out and volunteers to water all his camels and this and that, and he's like, this is the one, so he's praying, and then she agrees to go back, and we see the meeting there. So the book of Genesis, lots and lots of things about the book of Genesis that are beautiful and rich, but lots and lots of stuff about the book of Genesis and much of the Old Testament that is just so foreign to us because it was written, thousands of years ago in a different culture. And that is, again, why we study the sacred scriptures and why we have scholars. So Isaac and Rebekah, that's obviously going to be a big deal coming up in the unfolding of the promise of God to Abraham and his descendants. So today is Independence Day, isn't it? And today is a day where we think about freedom and we think about our nation, and we should be, I think, I don't think this, but I want to hold before you the idea that we should be patriots. Now, what does that mean to be a patriot? Pater Noster, that means our Father, right? And patriotism is a way of honoring our country, recognizing that we are to be good citizens of our nation. How we are good citizens will vary on what kind of nation we're living in. We want to call our nation to perfection. We want to be good citizens in the sense that we want our nation to be good, right? And so striving to bring out the best in the people, in the community, in the state, the nation, the community in which we live. I'll say just such a simple and silly, won't say silly, but simple example. A good citizen is not going to throw his trash out his window, okay? Good citizen might pick up the trash that's on the side of the road. Just that simple, right? Just caring for your community, to be involved emotionally in what is good for your schools, for your neighborhood, for all of it, right? So today we are thankful for the liberty that we have, yes? And we pray that we could use that liberty for good. And let's go back now to Matthew. Follow me. Has anybody here ever heard Jesus say those words to them? You better have. This is personal. This is for you too. When we read these things in the gospel, it's not just that Jesus said to Matthew, follow me. He's saying to every one of us, follow me. Matthew was an outsider, a tax collector, who knows? I mean, probably wealthy, probably despised by the people who looked at him and said, he's a sinner. But Jesus said to him, just as he says to me, follow me. And what impedes us from following Jesus? A lack of freedom. Because if you sin, you're a slave to sin. It's just that simple. Sin brings slavery. And so we see Matthew going from a slave to freedom. And we pray that we can go from slavery to freedom, that we can truly follow Christ, and that our country, that our community, that our state, that our circumstances would not impede us from following Christ. I read a book a few years ago that I would recommend to anybody called Man's Search for Meaning, about a prisoner in a World War II concentration camp. And he came to the conclusion, after a number of years in this concentration camp, that he was more free than the prison guards. Because the prison guards were enslaved by hatred and littleness, and he was free to forgive and to love and to strive to follow his conscience and truth. And so my brothers and sisters, whatever our circumstances may be, we pray that we have the freedom to follow Jesus as Matthew did.